to another edition of Healthy Living. I'm Katerina Freeman, and this week we're going to continue our discussion on being water-wise in the village. And my guest today is Mark Fierro, and he's a UCCE Master Gardener, and he has credentials up the kazoo. He's a member of the UCCE Master Gardeners. He's involved with teaching activities at the Fullerton Arboretum, Centennial Farm, Habitat for Humanity, the Braille Institute, and the Great Park of Irvine. One of his main projects is working with Square Foot Gardening Foundation, and founder, author Mel Bartholomew. I know a lot of you have that book. I have it too. He's a certified Square Foot gardener. He's a host of the UCI radio show in Irvine at UCI. The show is called In the Garden. Mark is a co-host. The show airs weekly on Thursday morning from 8:30 to 9:30. And prior to retiring from his real job, he was CEO of a large service company, business owner, and freelance writer for the Wall Street Journal. He's currently author of the books Adapt or Perish, Rekindling the American Dream, and his next book, which will be out in early 2016, is Unbridling the American Spirit. So thank you, Mark, for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Katerina, for inviting not only the Master Gardeners, but myself to your wonderful show.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we're happy to have you here today. And first of all, tell us what the Master Gardening Program is, and how do you get to be one?
Very good question. It's an interesting project. Actually, it's a number of volunteers. We're all volunteers, and we all have a passion for gardening. But the difference is we are trained by the UC Cooperative Extension in science-based gardening, horticulture, pest management, and water management.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's what we're looking at here now. I read in the paper yesterday that California had managed to reduce its water usage by over 12% during the month of May.
That is wonderful.
And since
it's a start, isn't it?
It's a start, yeah. We're shooting for 25%. So we're going to see. I called the El Toro Water District to find out, you know, if they had numbers on how much we, Laguna Woods, or specifically their water district, had reduced, and they said next week. So
it's always next week. But hopefully, if people are making an effort, it's going to be very easy to achieve those objectives. It's so easy to just think about everything that's inside without even considering what's outside in water use. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today.
Great.
Some of the areas, because drought is something that on the outside, and Master Gardeners are not talking about inside, but we're the outside people.
Right.
And droughts impact landscapes tremendously. Just think, if you had $1 million home and a $200,000 landscape, and you had to stop watering,
wow,
what would happen?
Yeah, it's going to die.
That's pretty big investment to have lost. But using good techniques, very efficient things. And let me give you a couple. First of all, if you're watering, whether it be a garden or a lawn, and I think most of your lawns here are covered by the association, so you don't have a lot of control over that. But you can let the association know if their sprinklers are goofing up, if they're watering the driveway or the sidewalks.
Right.
That's wasting water, right?
Yes, it is.
And that's a little bit of what I'm going to talk about. But a good thing you can do is water deep and less frequently. Give you an example. Landscapers or the grass cutters, they only want you to water 5 minutes at a time. 5 days a week. That's 25 minutes of water a week,
Yeah.
right? What if you water twice a week for 10 minutes each? First of all, the water goes down into the soil instead of just hitting the top, and then 25% of that evaporates with the sun, particularly in the hot areas.
Yeah.
But if you could do that 10 minutes a day, twice a week, look at the savings from 25 minutes down to 20 minutes a week. What is that? That's 20% right there.
Of your water right there. Wow. Yeah, we have a lot of grass here, and we have
You
the
certainly
golf
do.
courses too. We have one big golf course and a couple little, I don't know what you call them.
Oh, green areas.
Yeah, green
For-
areas.
for-
Well,
for
but
sure.
no, they're actual little, shorter golf courses. I apologize.
Oh, yeah,
for
the,
not
the
knowing.
par 3 courses, yes.
Okay.
I know that. And golf courses are a big issue with water. Of course, they have different regulations than we do. It's handled by different than the public is.
Right.
And they have different restrictions, et cetera. But water is water, right?
Yeah,
We
water.
only have so much.
Right.
In fact, if you look at it, we've got as much water now in the world as we did millions of years ago. People don't realize that. But look at it this way. If you take ice caps, they get bigger and smaller from time to time.
Right.
Puts more water out. We have less water, but look at Texas.
Yeah.
They got a lot more right now. And that's the way it works on shifting winds and Gulf streams
Yeah.
and whatever. So, but we have the same amount of water as
So we have a
did
lot more
right from the
people
beginning.
using it right now.
That's for sure. And let's give a couple other examples. And most of these, again, they're science-based. Not my opinion. But a good thing you can do is water by hand. Water your gardens by hand. Use a water can or a hose and make sure that where your water goes, it hits the plant. Let's water our plants, not the surrounding bare ground.
What about the spaghetti tubing, or what do you call that?
That's the next thing I'm going to go on. Let's call that drip irrigation.
Drip irrigation, yeah.
Drip irrigation is a good thing for certain things, but not for everything. If you're considering drip irrigation, one thing you can do is be cautious with it. For example, if you're converting your gardens or your show areas to native plants or succulents, won't work. So be very careful. But you want to be able to water the plants. Drip irrigation is particularly great in raised beds. And with our soil in this neighborhood, which is a great deal of clay, raised beds are a great way to go. And we're going to talk about a few more things in that area. We talked about watering by hand. We talked about drip irrigation. Let's also be mindful of our sprinklers. Leaks. A little leak in your sprinklers system can lose a great deal of water every day. Where our sprinklers are spraying, again, driveways, sidewalks, streets, if our sprinklers are going on to them, well, believe me, none of those areas grow anything, so they don't need our water.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, yes.
By watching our sprinklers, where they're going, And even if the association in your neighborhood is monitoring them, if you got a problem, let them know.
Yeah.
They'll come and fix it
Right.
right away
Right.
because they don't want to waste water.
Right,
So-
you guys call landscaping if you see this.
You got it.
So,
Another thing, if you do have your own area where you have grass, use smart irrigation controllers.
okay.
And they are available from your water district, or if you call the water district, they'll tell you where you can get them. Oftentimes, you get great rebates on them.
Yeah.
And the key to these things are these smart irrigation controllers. They act like a thermostat. And you know how when your temperature gets below this during the winter, the thermostat kicks in and your heater goes on. Same thing for smart irrigation controllers. When you need water, it activates your sprinkler system or your watering system.
Are those
So that's a
expensive?
good thing. They can be very expensive, but again, the water districts are giving great rebates on them.
Are they
Take-
sensors? They sense the
Th-
amount
they
of
sense-
moisture in the
They
area?
sense the amount of moisture, and I don't use them myself, but I really watch the way I water.
Okay.
Maybe I'm more than other people, but we should all be,
Yeah, yeah.
now particularly.
Yeah. What about, I've seen some people who had these, mostly up in Northern California when I lived up there, they had these big, long metal tubes that they would put in, like if they had trees that had very deep root systems and things
Yes.
like that. In the droughts, they would put these things down in there and just water the root systems way down.
Well, that's the key in trees. And believe me, many people are losing their older trees because the water is not getting down.
Yeah.
If you water 5 minutes a day in your neighborhood and your area, you're not getting water down where the
Yeah.
roots are. That's what roots do, and particularly in trees. Trees, tomato plants, they go down deep looking for water and nutrients, but at the same time, the roots provide stability for a tall,
Right.
big tree,
Yeah.
and they need to go deep. And those devices, and they're available from good nurseries, and even the big box stores, they're
What are
nurseries.
they called? Those things?
I can't think of it right off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but
me
thank you
either.
for asking. I'll check it out.
Okay.
And there are many places you can do that. And if you want, and our audience today, I'm going to give you a couple things, because if you have some questions that I can't answer right now, which is not unusual, because while I'm trained, I'm not trained on everything in detail. But there are several websites that are hosted by the Master Gardener program that does all of this, will answer any question you have,
Wow, that's great.
as long as they have enough information to get an idea of it. I see these questions every day on my computer that come through, and it's amazing how many tree issues are coming up. And there's more to it than just water, too. But let me give you these. I will repeat it later. But you can go to uccemg.com/ whatever issues it might be. And that could be water management, tree problems, pesticides, or if you just have a general issue, go to the same website /
Repeat it again. Repeat it all again.
and you can add this one. This one, our scientists get involved and our master gardeners get involved in getting you the answers. And it's the same website. If you haven't gotten it by now, I'll repeat it later. /hotline.
Hotline. Okay.
Hotline, Hotline,